ओके सर, दैट वाज अ वेरी ब्यूटीफुल इंसाइट। लेकिन मैं उन बच्चों के बारे में बात करना चाहूँगा जो अपनी ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं और मास्टर्स में आते हैं, और फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम दे गेट दैट इंग्लिश एनवायरनमेंट, और वो अपने आप को एक पिछड़ा हुआ पाते हैं, और वो एक ऐसा सोचते हैं कि यार अब हम क्या करें, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ देयर पीयर्स स्पीक रियली गुड इंग्लिश एंड सम ऑफ देम फील अ बिट एट द सेटबैक। हाउ टू कोप विद दैट, और उनको वो किस तरीके से अपना जो एक सेल्फ इम्पोज जो फीलिंग है उसको किस तरीके से कोप किया जाए सर?
So I think I already said that earlier, but here I would like to insist that means it is actually the rural urban gap. Say
हम्म।
students coming from rural background, when they come to the cities, they find this kind, they find themselves misfit there, because they feel, means they realize that means they are not at par with the urban peers, because they have had public schooling or they have had better education. So they have some kind of inferiority complex. So the very first thing is that they should get rid of that complex, that they are in any way inferior. The inferiority is only because of the environment that was deprived to them and the peers from the urban areas got. So they just need to fill that gap by working hard. मेहनत ज़्यादा करनी पड़ेगी। अगर कोई उस चीज़ को नेचुरली कर पा रहा है तो उसका पीछे का बैकग्राउंड है। 12 साल का पब्लिक स्कूलिंग है, आपका स्कूलिंग पूरे 12 साल हिंदी मीडियम रहा या इंग्लिश भी रहा तो वो इंग्लिश भी हिंदी में पढ़ाई गई। तो इस तरह से अगर आपका एनवायरनमेंट रहा है कि आपने इंग्लिश यूज़ ही नहीं की, आपने सुनी ही नहीं है, तो हाउ कैन यू एक्सपेक्ट to be a better speaker of English? It is the same analogy that I'll use, that you can't learn swimming by standing out of the swimming pool. You have to plunge yourself into it. आपको डूबना ही पड़ेगा, आपको कोशिश करनी ही पड़ेगी, आपको ये इंसल्ट बेयर करनी पड़ेगी कि मुझे इंग्लिश कम आती है या नहीं आती, या मेरे एक ग्रामर मजबूत है लेकिन उसको मैं यूज़ नहीं कर पाता हूँ. Because you will find that means students coming from rural backgrounds, their grammar is strong but their communication skills are weak. In contrast, those coming from urban backgrounds, their communication skills are strong, but they are not that good in grammar, because they have learned language through a kind of usage mode. So that is the gap that needs to be filled up. So they have to be made to understand this thing, that they actually need to use English more often than anyone else. They need to interact with their peers even if they are going wrong, because the problem lies that they feel that if I use incorrect English, people will make fun of me. Let them. After a time, they will adjust, they will accommodate you. But if on your own you start feeling that, okay, I can't reach up to that level, so that level can never ever be attained.
Okay.
So it is as simple as that.
So it reminds me of a quotation from my favorite mentor, David Goggins. He says that you don't need private schools, you don't need great parents. You only thing that you need is willingness to hard work everybody in the room. Okay.
True.
So now we get back to the next question, that be your leap from government RPSC college to Central University of Rajasthan. How did you do that, sir? Matlab, what took you to that?
Okay, let me talk about two of my RPSC experiences and then I'll talk about my
Yeah, that.
Central University of Rajasthan experience. The first interview that I appeared for in RPSC was for school lecturer, first grade job. And for that, one of my cousins, he brought the form. Those were the days when online forms were not there and things were not that digitalized.
Okay.
Forms were available at bookstores and various stalls. So he brought that form for me and forced me to fill it up. I was not interested in school teaching because my ultimate aim was to get into college. I was preparing for NET, SLET, and all. So I was very reluctant. But just because he brought the form and he insisted, and my father also insisted further, so I filled the form and I forgot about it. After, I think, a few months, I got a call and I just went to RPSC on my scooter with my brother. We had got a new scooter, Bajaj Chetak at that time, and we thought, okay, let's go for a fun visit to RPSC with no intention of being very sincere about the interview. Halfway, almost around Kishangarh, the scooter broke down, and I still did not panic because I thought, okay, interview or no interview doesn't matter much. But then somehow I got a lift. I reached RPSC, and my name had been called thrice. So I reached quite late, but somehow they accommodated. So when I was called for the interview, questions were asked and answered. I couldn't answer, just I think a couple of questions I couldn't answer. And I came out. So while we were roaming around, I met one of my old friends from a school, and he was working in the office, one of the offices close to RPSC. And he asked me, okay, how did you come here? So I told him. He said, okay, give me your roll number and all, I'll let you know the result. So those were the days when there were no mobiles. My
Akhbar.
uncle had the landline. So he said, because on the last day of the interview, generally the result is declared.
Mhm.
So I think mine was the third day, fourth day, I don't remember. So on the last day, he rang me up and he said, how did the interview go? I said, okay, it was fine. I don't know how it went, but I answered the questions. So maybe I clear it, maybe I don't. So he rang me up on the last day when the result was declared, and he called me. My uncle called me that one of your friends from Ajmer has called up. So he said, Sanjay, I'm sorry to tell you that you couldn't make it. I said, never mind. This is not my ultimate destination, and I did not go with that mindset. So I said, okay, thank you for this. And before I could keep the receiver down, he abused me very angrily, and he said, that means, how dare you say that you couldn't manage to clear the interview? You have topped the list. He said, I can't believe it. He said, I kept on looking at your number from bottom to somewhere in the middle. So he said, one of my colleagues was with me. He said, यार ऊपर से भी तो देख लो. तो बोले, ऊपर देखा तो संजय अरोड़ा का नाम सबसे ऊपर है. तो बोले, तू सामने होता, मैं तेरे को पकड़ पकड़ के घूसे मार मार के तेरी धुनाई कर.
Reminds me of Three Idiot famous scene. Raju और
So
Rastogi.
that is how the first interview happened. The second interview for college lectureship happened another 3 4 years, 3 years after that. That was my ultimate destination. That was my ultimate goal. I had to get into college teaching. So I continued preparing for NET, SLET. Somehow NET wasn't happening, SLET happened. And I cleared it and I filled it up. I got a call. So when I looked at the vacancies, there were 54 vacancies and number of applicants were 22. Eligible applicants. No, number of applicants were 22 and finally the eligible applicants were 20. So when we went for the interview, we went with a lot of confidence that the number of vacancies are double than the number of applicants eligible for the post. So we are all in. So very happily we went in, and I was called at number 8 or 9. The first candidate, a girl, when she came out, because we are not allowed to interact with the candidates once they are coming out of the interview. So I saw her bitterly crying and her father consoling, बेटे कोई बात नहीं, होता है चलता है, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है, ये इंटरव्यू लास्ट इंटरव्यू नहीं है आपका, ऐसे. They were just talking about it and we saw all that happening. She went down the stairs. The second candidate came out, and again she was not crying, but she was in a very bad mood.
Sobbing.
We could realize that means her interview didn't go well. So we couldn't understand that what is happening inside. So when my turn came, I then realized that what exactly was happening. So there were two professors, one to the right, one to the left, and in the center there was the RPSC member. So they kept asking questions, I kept answering. So with every question that was answered, they would share sarcastic smiles. Oh, are you sure about it, Dr. Arora? I was very puzzled. That means, yeah, I'm sure. That's why I'm answering. But then somehow means they shook my confidence. Every answer that I gave, my confidence was completely shattered. And when I came out, I realized that means maybe I'm not taken in, because to the best of my knowledge, I answered all the questions correctly. But then they did not accept a single answer to be correct. So then three of our friends, means we became friends there. So we were traveling back together, and all the three of us shared the same experience, that this was their strategy to shatter your confidence,
Strategic essentialism.
to tell you that means it's not a cakewalk, means it's not that means 54 vacancies are there and 20 applicants are eligible, so it is a uh, job which is readily available for you, so it's not that easy. So we were all very very shattered and very unsure, but when the result came, of course I was selected at number 4 position, and that is how it happened for me in RPSC. In terms of Central University of Rajasthan, actually, when I completed my masters, there was an offer from Gujarat for a position of assistant professor. Those were the times when NET wasn't mandatory, and I could have been getting an assistant professor grade in a college in Gujarat, but I did not want to go there. I did not want to leave home because already I had been away from home for 18 years. And then when I came back home again, leaving home for a job was something which I was not in
More
favor of.
like Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah. So I did not go there. But then when this thing came up, that means how to upgrade yourself, means from a college to a university, my target was University of Rajasthan. I filled up the form for Rajasthan University 5 times.
My God.
First 2 times I filled it up for assistant professor's position. Interviews did not happen. Third time I filled it up for associate professor position, and assistant professor interviews happened.
Oh my God.
Fourth time I filled it up for associate and professor's position. Again, it happened only for assistant professor's position, and fifth time only for professor. So interviews were conducted only for assistant and associate professor. So finally, Rajasthan University was not meant for me, or I wasn't meant to be there. In the meantime, Central University of Rajasthan came up with a vacancy, and I applied. So the transparency that I saw there made me feel that okay, probably this is the destination for me if I can manage to make it. When I was filling up the form, because taking a leap from a government college to not a state university but a central university, it is taking two leaps, a
At
jump
the same
of two
time.
leaps. So I knew that means I'll be looked down upon. Maybe they make fun of me. Maybe someone asks me, how dare you? So I prepared myself very thoroughly while preparing, right from the time of filling up the form online to the interview phase. I was all through preparing, planning, strategically planning. And when I saw the form of the university, I realized that there were some glaring errors in the form. I made a note of that, kept it intact. I thought, first of all, I wasn't sure whether I'll get a call. Luckily, I got a call. And then I shot a mail to the vice chancellor that while filling up the form for this position, I came across some glaring errors, which according to me are glaring. You can get it checked from your experts. In case you feel that they need to be corrected, so you can do that because that doesn't befit the stature of a central university. And I shot the mail to the vice chancellor. Then, when I was to go for the interview, I went through the preamble of the Department of English, which was a 1.5 page document. And according to me, there were more than 30 errors in that 1.5 page, minor and major errors, syntactical, lexical errors. So I just prepared a document with strike through and my corrections done and all that. So it came to some 3 pages, and I made 10 copies of that, and I went for the interview because I knew maybe I'm not selected. Maybe they make fun of me or insult me, humiliate me. So in case that happens, I'm losing out nothing. So I'll tell them that, see, this is the standard of your department, and means if you think I'm not meant for it, maybe Central University is also not meant for me, something of that kind. Means I went with that mindset of bouncing back.
Nothing to lose.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
hadn't to lose anything. I was at the same pay grade. Nothing would have changed except, of course, the stature. So the interview, first we had the presentations. So the presentation went decently well, comparatively well. It was an open presentation. And if I make a comparison with the other co applicants there, uh, I can say it for sure. That means I was confident that I gave my best and they were convinced. Next phase after lunch was interview. Interview was one to the panel. So when the interview happened, that also did not go that ugly as I expected. Everything went well except for some questions on theory, which I couldn't answer, and I accepted. So they thanked me and they said, "Okay, Dr. Arora, thank you for coming." And I realized that my effort is going waste. So while getting up, I mustered courage and I said to the Vice Chancellor, "Sir, if you don't mind, I would like to share something from the preamble of the Department of English." While going through that, I realized there were some errors. And in case you are interested, can I share that with you? So one of the professors there, he asked me, "Do you have a copy of that?" I said, "Yes, sir." "Okay, we would like to have a look at it." So I distributed those copies to the panel, all those who were there in the panel. So this professor read the first few lines, he looked at the lines and he looked at me and he nodded his head in agreement that yes, what you've written is right. So my task was done. And then the Vice Chancellor also said, "Oh, you also pointed out some errors in our online form. We have got those corrected. Thank you for that." So that is how I managed to make an impact. And this is how it happened.
Okay, so
Yeah.
reminds me of history repeats itself all the way from first grade to Central University of Rajasthan, nothing to lose.
Yeah.
That kind of a mindset.